Hi, I'm Ruben Saltzman with Structure Tech Home Inspections, and today I'm going to talk to you about nothing that's home inspection related. Today's topic is ice baths. So I'm bringing this up because it is definitely a trending topic. I cannot go a week without talking to somebody about taking cold plunges or ice baths or cold baths or cold showers or some version of exposing your body to cold water. It is all the rage. I'm not going to sell you on the benefits of this. If you want to learn more about it, I'd say ask Wim Hof. He knows all about it. Read his books. Or check in with Tony Robbins or Ben Greenfield or Dave Asprey. Bunch of smart people who know a lot about health. Check in with one of them. You know, the basics is that you're going to live to 150. You're going to have superpowers. You will never get sick. And you'll have boundless energy. That's what taking ice baths will do for you, or some version of that. You get it. What I want to share with you is what I have done. I have got a very simple and affordable solution for taking my own cold plunges, and I've shared it with a lot of people, so I want to share it with you. I want to share my methods. Now, of course, the most affordable, the easiest way to get the cold water exposure would be to take a cold shower. If you live in a cold climate like Minnesota, this is very effective. Our average groundwater temperature is 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if you're on city water, you're not going to get 45-degree water. For my house right now, it's December and my water is about 58 degrees. But still, that's very cold. That is a cold shower. Now, if I were on a well, it would be a lot colder than that even. If you live in a warmer climate, you don't get to take cold showers. I'm sorry, there's no such thing. I've been to Florida, I've been to Texas, I've been to California. Y'all don't have cold water. You guys have cool water, but it's not cold. So, you guys, you don't have the option of taking a cold shower. So, what else is there? The next step would be cold water immersion. Now, of course, if you got a lake or a pond really close by, you can cut a hole in the ice and you can jump in the middle of winter. But we're not talking about that. We're making things easy. The next step would be to just hop in a bathtub. If you live in a cold climate, you got cold water, you could fill your bathtub up with water and you could get in. And if you really want to take it to the next level, I've done this in the winter, where I get a 5-gallon bucket or a few 5-gallon bucket fulls of snow and dump those into the bathtub. That gets it extra cold. That'll really bring the water temp down. And then if you don't like that, or you're not lucky enough to have snow, well, we're not lucky enough to have snow yet this year. Don't get me started. If you don't have snow, you can use ice. Now, buying 20-pound bags of ice and dumping it into a bathtub starts to get expensive, and you really need several bags to really drop that temperature down. But something I heard about from another home inspector friend of mine who's down in Florida is you get these little 6-quart storage bins, you fill those up with water, you stick them in your freezer, and now you've got these gigantic ice cubes, and you dump 6 or 8 of those in your bathtub, and that's really going to bring the temperature down. Now, I've done the bathtub thing. I'm not a huge fan of it. Number one, I don't like lying down in the bathtub. I would rather be more vertical. Number two, it takes a long time for my bathtub to fill, and I need to sit there and kind of passively watch it. And for me to get enough water in my bathtub, it took like 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, it was a long process. So, I'm not a huge fan of that, but that's where another home inspector friend of mine, this guy was in Ohio, Chris, give you a shout out, thanks for the suggestion. He bought this, it's called a portable ice bath, and there's a million of them out there. They got tons of them on Amazon. The particular one that I got right off the manufacturer's website. It's made by a company called New Recover, and it's basically just this heavy-duty vinyl barrel that's supported with some plastic ribs. You fill the thing up with water and you hop in. And again, if you've got cold groundwater, it's good just the way it is. When I first started doing this, I started doing it this summer, and I would add a 20-pound bag of ice, and it would drop the temperature about 2 degrees. It would make just about no difference. And so I quit doing that because I thought this is already cold enough. But then once it started getting really cold outside, I didn't want to mess with this anymore. I didn't want to go outside and have to deal with snow and all that other stuff and having ice form in here after I drained it. So I brought it inside. I set this up in my utility room and I put it right near the floor drain. So I just open up the valve and it drains right into the floor drain. There's no mess. And to fill it, I ended up running a water line. I took the old water line that went to my kitchen faucet. It was unsoftened water. And I ran that water line up along the ceiling. I installed a 3/4 inch garden hose fitting to the end of it. And from there, I installed a sprinkler timer. The particular one was made by Orbit. To fill this, all I need to do is open up my app, and I set this thing to run for 6 minutes. I hit start, and it fills my cold plunge, my cold bath. And then from there, I've got a garden hose hanging down into the cold bath, and I added a couple of weights onto the end of it, just some miscellaneous pipe fittings that I had sitting around, just to add some weight to the bottom so the hose doesn't flop around as it's filling. So all I do when I'm ready to take a cold bath is I go down into my basement, I open up the valve on the fill line. I do keep it closed because I'm paranoid. I don't want something accidentally going off when I'm not home or something leaking. So my default is I keep the valve closed. When I want to use it, I open up the valve and then I close the drain valve on the cold bath, open up my app, set it to run for 6 minutes, hit go, and 10 minutes later, 20 minutes later, whenever I'm ready to get in, it's filled. It's all set. I hop in, I sit in there for 5 minutes or whatever it is. It's 5 minutes, that's what I do. And it's about 58-degree water. Then I hop out, I close the fill valve again, and I open the drain valve, and I'm done. Easy as that, easy as pie. This couldn't be any easier. And if it wasn't so simple, I probably wouldn't use it so often. So that's my very, very simple DIY cold bath solution, at least if you live in a cold climate. Again, if you're in a warm climate, this isn't going to work so well. You might have to make your own ice cubes, your own giant ice cubes, and dump those in, but still, it's a great way to do this without having to spend tons of money on some type of refrigerated system that's going to cost you thousands and thousands, maybe even tens of thousands, depending on how fancy you want to get with this. It's a great way to start off. Maybe if you really love it, you can invest in a refrigerated system. But had to share that with you, and that's all I got. Again, I'm Ruben Saltzman with Structure Tech Home Inspections. I'm sure next week I'll be back with something that has to do with home inspections. All right. Happy New Year. Take care. All right. Let's get at it. Okay, Google. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Okay. Timer's going. This is always the worst. Okay. All right. And now I'll sit and meditate for 5 minutes. I'm sure you're wondering about these rubber duckies. My daughter, she's 12, she thought it would be hilarious, and it was hilarious. She added one rubber ducky one day after I had set this up. And then the next day, I came down and I found 2 of them. And then 3, and she kept adding one rubber ducky per day. And so now I've got all my friends here. I started naming them, but I can't remember all their names now. And I've got my thermometer here, my little floaty thermometer. 58 degrees. It's cold. It doesn't seem like it should be that cold. You hear 58, you're like, oh, it's way above freezing. But Try it. It's cold. And you know, some days I'll keep my hands out of here. I remember there was one day I was done and my hands, my one finger went numb. And then I get out and I was telling my wife about it. I was like, yeah, my finger went numb, and I looked at it later. It was white. My finger had changed color. And my wife had some name for it. I don't remember what it was. But after I'm done in here, I'm going to go take a cold shower. I turn the water on kind of mostly cold. It's cool. And I'll get in like that, and I'll acclimate to that for a minute, and then I'll kind of turn the temperature all the way to cold to where the water pressure drops just a little, so I know I'm all the way on cold. And then I'll finish up with my shower that way, you know, a little soap and shampoo, and then hop out. And I think a lot, what I've heard is that a lot of the benefit to doing this is being exposed to cold and then letting your body recover, not hopping in a sauna or a warm shower immediately after that. Alright, I'm just rambling. That's it, we're good. Thanks for watching. Take care. That's my timer.